Why, hello there, you. You look great. Fantastic to see you. I don't look nearly as good as you. I'm a little all over the place. You know, hair's a little wild. I got some pimples because I've been stressed out. And why? Well, thank you for asking. Because we're starting production on Could You Survive the Movie Season 2 this week, and it's been a whirlwind. There's a lot going on. When projects like this come up, the thing I think about the most is failure. And that's what I kind of want to talk about today. This vlog is sponsored by Skillshare. As you know, I've been doing a long partnership with them, so very excited about that. And we'll talk about Skillshare in a little bit. But first, let's talk about failing and how I interpret that and what that means to me. And of course, my feelings towards it are going to be different than yours. A lot of what I say you might not agree with, and that is totally fine. This is a conversation. But when big things like this, with Could You Survive the Movie Season 2, a lot, I feel, rests on me. And now let's keep in mind that, especially on productions, there are lots and lots of people working on it. But the reason that I feel like it rests on me, and it might not be true, and you might say that, hey, Jake, that's not the case, because it's not only that I want to make something that's good for you, but I want to make something that the people who work on it are proud of, and that they look at it and they go, wow, that was a great use of my time. I used my time, I used my skills, I used my talent, and I made something that I'm proud of. I made something that I'm going to share with others. Because generally when I make a YouTube video, obviously on this channel it's just me, and on Vsauce 3 it's maybe another person, if not just me. There's less of that pressure because at the end of the day, it's only on me. There's nobody else involved in making it. And so you feel this pressure. And it might be undue pressure, but it's still this pressure to perform, to succeed, because there's a lot of people relying on me. Not just the people who are going to consume the content after I make it, but the people who are there making it with me. And so, where am I going with this? Well, let's just talk about failing. I generally have said, and I generally believe, that failing is not the worst thing in the world because it teaches you something. You learn from it. As long as you don't give up afterwards, right? If you fail doing something, you take that failure and you analyze it. What went wrong? What could I have done better? How did it get to that point? Why wasn't it successful? What does it mean to be successful? You take all that and then you try it again. Maybe it's a little bit different. Maybe it's not the same thing, but you try it and you see where you land with it. One thing I've been thinking about a lot is I posted on Instagram the other week that I lost 20 pounds in 2020. I decided that I wanted to eat better. I wanted to exercise more. I wanted to generally be healthier. But one thing happened. Maybe, I don't know if I can show this to you. So this is going to be kind of weird. After my surgery for cancer on my leg, I got very self-conscious about showing my leg. So I stopped, wearing gym shorts. But part of that was when I would go to the gym and stuff, I used to always wear shorts because it's easier to exercise for me in shorts. But then I stopped because I was self-conscious about my leg. I was embarrassed by it. It felt like this constant reminder of something that had happened to me that people would just be curious about or stare at, and I didn't particularly care for that. And so I used that as an excuse to not exercise anymore. But then I got over it, I guess, because I realized that what I wanted to be better, it was going to take getting over the perceived ugliness of my leg. And you know what? Let me just show you my leg. Let's see if I can do this. So there it is. You can see the scar from where they sliced open the leg to take the calf muscle and flip it on top. This was the giant hole right there that they did. You can see it. And there's a skin graft for my hip on top there. And there's no hair here in this section, if you notice, because of the radiation therapy. But I mentioned all this because to me, that was a failure that I took too long to rectify. It shouldn't have taken that long. I talked in a few vlogs ago about making music, and it's something that I kind of gave up on, not because I wasn't interested in making music, but because I felt like it's this thing where you stop yourself before you start. I didn't think I'd be good at it, so I decided if I don't try, then I'll never know if I was bad at it, but I'll also never know if I was good at it. Generally, you're not going to be successful overnight. You're very, very lucky if that is the case. Most of the time, you have to put in a lot of time to get to that point. That's just, I think, one of the rules of the road. I took a piano course on Skillshare, so now we get into Skillshare. I started taking piano lessons on Skillshare, and another thing that I did was I took classes for a software called Ableton Live. One of the reasons I started doing that is because it came for free with, you can't see it, but my MIDI keyboard's right over here, was the software that came with it. But there's a course on Skillshare all about the software, how to use it, how to work with it by Brian Jackson, and it is fantastic. It's incredibly helpful for me because I love learning new software. It can be intimidating, especially something so focused like editing software or music production software. It's so specific that if you don't have some general understanding of it, it feels very foreign. So this has been incredibly helpful with that. And from it, I've been able to make some stuff. Here's a little thing that I made. So that's just me playing around on the MIDI keyboard with the software, but I was able to get to that point because of Skillshare in this course. And if you don't know what Skillshare is, it is an encyclopedia, a library of information. You can take classes about graphic design, UX, photography, music, film, writing, really anything you can think of, there is a class for it. I love Skillshare. So if you want, at the top of the description, there is a link, and the first 1,000 people to click it get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. I would highly recommend it. You know, the thing that I like about Skillshare, and this goes into everything that we're talking about here, is that it gives me less of an excuse to not try something. It gives me less of an excuse to give up. And that's how I felt with music, where I just, well, if I don't try, then I'll never know if I failed. Yeah, okay, but maybe you should just try. Maybe you should just see what you can do, what your limits are, what is possible with this. And so that's been very exciting to me. You know, when I get stressed out, I now just exercise, or I'll grab the MIDI keyboard and I'll boot up the software and just start messing around with sounds and with melodies and rhythms. And it's very exciting. Back to the beginning of this, when it comes to the production, you know, I'm very, very excited for this production to start. It literally, by the time you watch this, it will have started. But also I can't help but putting pressure on myself that I could fail. Because it's always a possibility. It doesn't mean it's the only outcome, but it could be an outcome. So what do you do to combat that? I wish I had a very eloquent response, but I don't. My response is, you just keep trying. We do these things because they make us feel uncomfortable, both internally and externally. And it's kind of a test to see if we can do it to ourselves, to see if we are able to cross that barrier. Failure is an opportunity to learn. And it is only a failure, in the definition of that word, if you give up afterwards. But if you use that experience that you have gained, that you created for yourself, if you use that to get better, to be better, to try again, then you didn't fail, you learned. And all you can do is keep learning. That's what I got for you. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Maybe this was helpful, maybe it wasn't. But at least we got to spend some time together, which is always fun. Links to Skillshare down at the top of the description. Again, highly recommend Skillshare. It is a fantastic resource, and I'm through this partnership with Skillshare too, I keep pushing myself to try new things and learn and take new classes. So any whoozy whatsy, that's down there. Links to all the socials, and by socials I mean mine, are down there as well. And that's what I got for you. I'm gonna go do some meetings, edit this video, and I'll see you in the next one, because remember, it's not goodbye. Oh no, it's never goodbye. It's